It's not the life she expected, but Taya Kyle is coming into her own as a sought-after speaker, philanthropist, and author. Her new book, American Wife, intimately details her life and marriage to American sniper Chris Kyle.
Hopefully, it's meaningful and emotional, but hopefully being one step removed, it doesn't just, rip your heart out. That's certainly not the intention of the book.
You are very honest about your marriage in this book, about the ups and downs, the challenges. You include a lot of the letters that Chris wrote to you while he was deployed. Why was that important for you?
He was so unique, and I love that part of him that's romantic and kind and soft, and I felt like that's a lot of our veterans and our first responders. These guys have these tremendously big hearts, and that's why they care enough to take less money and go out and put their life on the line.
You started the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation, which helps military and first responder families reconnect after a deployment or crisis. Why was it important to you to focus on strengthening marriages and helping families reconnect?
In my experience, there's a niche that wasn't quite being met, and it's very personal to me because these guys, again, and women, they are strong people, and they get married, so they love each other enough to take that on. And then it's sort of torn apart by things that are out of their control.
Finding balance in their marriage proved difficult for the Kyles. Chris deployed shortly after their wedding, and just days after the births of their 2 children. Each time he returned home, it was a difficult transition for both of them.
The tagline is honoring God and country by serving those who serve. When we heal the marriage, it says in the Bible, God first, marriage second, children third. And a lot of times when you are separated for so long, you end up, one of the spouses, whoever's home, is putting the kids first and then trying to put the marriage first and figure it all out. It can be a bit of a mess.
For her efforts, Taya recently received the Gabby Giffords Award for Courage and Bravery at Fort Myer, Virginia.
I admire you for serving when it's less than 1% of the country who does that. I admire the wives for being the type of women who are able to stay with their marriage. And I know it's not easy. I feel like if I can do any good for any wife by letting her know that she's not alone in those moments where you have your fears or you have your disappointments.
Or feel unpatriotic. It's how Taya says she sometimes felt while overwhelmed at home and needing to unload on her husband, who was risking his life for his country.
I really just hope that I can represent you all well, because I have a tremendous amount of respect for everybody in this room.
When Chris was killed, grief enveloped Taya, and through it she had to deal with his murder trial and 2 lawsuits, one from Chris's business partners and a second from Jesse Ventura, who claimed the success of Chris's book, American Sniper, was due to a paragraph about a fight between the 2 men.
Your husband, a Navy SEAL, the most lethal sniper in U.S. military history, he survived so much and was murdered. Yet you write that you never got angry with God.
Right. No, because I feel like the thing is, God promises free will. And with that, people have the choice to do evil. And he doesn't just promise that for one person or in this condition. It's free will, period. It's your choice. So with that, I think what he does promise is that he'll bring beauty through the ashes. God knows it's going to happen, and I can tell you the ways and the things that I feel he did to prepare me for it, the gifts that I was given beforehand that I can hang on to. He was with me through the process of losing Chris, and he's with me now to fulfill that promise that there will be bad things that will happen to you on earth, but I will be there, and I will turn something beautiful out of it.
God did that just before Chris died. As Taya writes, at that time, her marriage was in the best place it had ever been. She certainly never thought she would face the gut-wrenching decision of moving her wedding ring to her right hand.
It's all very foreign to me because I feel like you can't even predict grief, and that's why I can be hard-headed and driven, and I feel like the blessing in it is that I feel like I've been so broken that I've had no choice but to trust that God will take care of it. I just have to keep trying to do my best with whatever it is in front of me. I'm still struggling with being okay with finding joy, too. because it seems like, it seems like I should never have joy again because I miss him. But I know that's not realistic. At some point I have to, and I do have to do it for my kids too. They don't deserve to grow up in a home that's not as, and when I say joy, I mean true joy. We've laughed, we've had fun, we've done fun things, all of those things, but there's a difference between that and a really deep joy that I used to have more often.
For now, Taya says she's thankful for the opportunity to try to make a difference and create something beautiful out of the ashes.
The truth is, I couldn't survive it without my faith. And if we're open to it, when we struggle, we can still see how God will make something good out of it. Maybe not what you wanted, but still something that's a blessing.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News.